We're going to talk today about AssignIQ and RouteIQ. If you haven't used AssignIQ before, it is a tool which you can use to assign visits, and it is designed to review everything schedule related to those visits and make the decision that you would have made anyway, or even a better decision as to who to assign the visit with just a single click. Let's start with how to use AssignIQ. All you need to do is go to a schedule page where you would be assigning visits. I'm going to go to these requested visits. I'm going to select all, and then under Actions, choose Assign and AssignIQ. And AssignIQ is going to recommend pet sitters. And I can see the reasons why they're being recommended, what's being weighed, what's most important, what may be causing a penalty. In my Preferences panel, I can choose what's most important to me when making assignments. Some companies may prefer the primary or secondary pet sitter perform the majority of visits and only suggest someone that is closer in circumstances where the primary and secondary are not available. Some companies may not use the primary or secondary pet sitter. So you can adjust these settings for what's important to you in your business. If you have staff segments set up and you only want to consider specific staff segments, you can do that here as well. The consolidation is going to favor pet sitters that already have more visits in their schedule that day. So if you had sitters that maybe you consider more full-time than part-time and you want to prefer them first, then you would want to turn up the consolidation setting. If you want the visits to be performed fully within the time block, you would want to adjust that here instead of just starting within the time block. And the arrival increment would be the rounding of the arrival time. So choosing every 15 minutes would mean the arrival times would be at 0 past the hour, 15, 30, 45 past the hour. Once I've adjusted my preferences, I could run AssignIQ again. And I can run AssignIQ as many times as I want. If I decide I'm not liking what's being suggested, either the arrival time or the pet sitter, I can edit that. Let's say I want this visit to start at 7 a.m. instead of the suggested 8:15 a.m. Then when I run it again, we have locked the arrival time in, and it is now suggesting a new pet sitter. By editing the pet sitter, I can also lock in who I would like to perform that visit and not have AssignIQ suggest a different sitter. We can also access the notes for the visits and notes for the client from within AssignIQ by clicking on the note icon. The schedule for the sitter's day can be accessed by clicking on this calendar icon. That allows us to look at the other visits that the sitter is already assigned to that day. When we're happy with our choices, we're going to click on Finalize, and it's going to assign to those pet sitters and send them the notifications which you have set up for that action. The other part of AssignIQ is RouteIQ. We can access RouteIQ by assigning only to visits which are already assigned. And if I choose RouteIQ mode down here and then run RouteIQ, now it's going to change into RouteIQ mode. RouteIQ mode does not try to assign new sitters. It only tries to find the best route, the best order, the best times for the visits which are selected. Just like AssignIQ, we can edit the times here if we want to lock them into something different that is being suggested. A quick way to get to RouteIQ is to use Route View. Within Route View, it will give you the option to use RouteIQ with this magic icon next to sitters with 3 or more visits. And once you are done with RouteIQ, you can click Finalize, and it's going to adjust the times for those visits. When it comes to who is being selected, AssignIQ uses the preferences that we already discussed. It also uses things like if the pet sitter has the key to the client. It looks at blocked sitters, availability, and overlaps, proximity and drive time, and workload balance. You can also set scheduling preferences by editing a staff account. If you have staff that you do not want to be considered for assignments, you can choose Do Not Schedule. If you have staff that never or only do overnights, you can choose that here. You can also choose if they only do dog or cat visits, or to exclude certain animals from visits they would be considered for. And lastly, if you use service groups, you can choose that they can only be considered for specific service groups.